Hey mamas, it's Lee from Like-Minded Musings, and I wanted to come and share with you a little bit today about parenting a strong-willed child. I posted, I believe it was last week, what is your biggest struggle in parenting a strong-willed child? And my heart went out to you. It's hard, it's exhausting, it's frustrating, and we can so easily lose sight of things that we know. And I just really wanted to come on and share 3 tips that are things that I try to keep in mind, in the front of my mind very often when dealing with strong-willed children. And we have 2. One of them is older, and God is so gracious in beginning to see some of the fruit and the good things of the strong-willed side of the personality. And there are so many good things. There's also an article that we had in our Raising Godly Girls event that addressed that, and I'll make sure to link to that in the bottom. But there's so many good things from a strong-willed personality if we can help them grow and learn and let God shape them into that. But then there's the tough side, the super hard side, where you're just in it and you have no idea what that outcome can even look like, and how it can be. How could this possibly be shaped and molded into something good? But it can. And so I just wanted to share 3 tips with you that I always try to keep in mind as we're going through this. And we have an older one and we have a younger one that we're definitely in the throes of it with. So one thing, the first tip is make sure that we're looking at the heart and not the behavior only, okay? The why behind it. That goes with all parenting. That's a huge part of what I'm passionate about, but it's so hard to do when you're talking strong-willed children, because the outward defiance, the huge meltdowns, the attitude, the battle is so real and so in your face that in order for us to take a step back and to really think, okay, what is this? Why? What is the why behind it? I need to have and I have an actual process now of lots and lots of practice of what I go through in my mind, starting with prayer, because God will show you if you ask Him, that I go through, because it gets so overwhelming otherwise, and I will react badly. And so starting with the why, I always start with the physical, of course, because it doesn't matter whether they're toddlers or teens. There are physical things going on, tiredness, or adults. I mean, really, tiredness affects our attitudes, but tiredness and hunger and all those kinds of things. I mean, the physical list to go through is a pretty quick thing. And then as I'm done with the physical, I'm looking more at the heart. Is it a sin issue? Of course, we're going to look at that. Is there something within character, pride, anything like that we need to address? And then we're also going to look at emotions and hormones. Is this just if you have girls, is this a hormonal meltdown? Is there no other reason for it but hormones? And helping them to identify that is huge, but that's a separate topic. Is it something that they're scared about? Are they just lacking in confidence? Are they hurt about something? There's so many reasons behind these behaviors that, like I said, if we don't take a step back, ask for God to show us and help us about the why behind it, we can just simply try to address the behavior with discipline, any kinds of punishment, things like that, taking things away. And not that those things, the discipline shouldn't happen, because it should, but we have to be sensitive to figure out the why first, because if we don't address that why and we're just constantly trying to discipline a strong-willed child, it's going to end badly. So we have to combine and to keep track of both. So the why behind it, stepping back, asking for God to help show you the why behind it, and then offering them control whenever possible. So this is something, sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's, with a little one, we have to leave in 5 minutes. Do you want to go this way or do you want to go this way? Like if we're going on a walk and it doesn't matter at all which way we go around the block, that's a choice, and they can have control. That can help them have control over the situation. Sometimes it's not easy. Those are opportunities, though, to pray and ask God to show you what kinds of choices or lessons of self-control would he like them to see? Because the more that we can teach them how to have self-control, let them own that. It not only goes against their defiant personality so they don't have anything to butt up against, but also it helps to grow them in that from the tween to the teen stage, where they are getting ownership of who they are and their decisions, and they're realizing the power and the effect of that, and learning how to handle it in a good way, in a safe place at home, where if they fail, it's okay. It's a soft place to land. So really focusing on offering them control whenever possible. And then the other thing is with that, I want to just mention, as they do get into the tween to teen age, if they are respectful, and this is our rule, it depends so much on the way that they handle things, but if they're respectful in the way that they approach things, they are allowed to offer ideas or suggestions or input. Or let's take reading, for example, at bedtime. And I come in and say, okay, it's time for bed, let's turn off the lights. And they're reading and they want to finish the chapter. Well, if they have a complete meltdown and start throwing a fit and say they're not done, they don't want to go to bed, all that kind of stuff, then it doesn't matter, it's going to happen. But if they can approach respectfully and they can say, I really want to finish this chapter, can I just finish that and then go to bed? That's fine, and that's a win-win. They have control over it, they get to finish the chapter, which is a bonus, and then there's no bad attitude or disrespectful heart when it comes down to it. So that's just kind of a little example of, as they get older, offering them input and suggestions and reasoning within respectful means. So that's something also to think about, but offering them control whenever possible. And then learning from experience is the last one. And this is a tough one for me. It is something, of course, unless injury, you don't want them to be in any harm, nothing that is going to be so big that they can, get hurt. Your mom sense will kick in there, but letting them learn from experience. You can, instead of nagging, you can give them the explanation as to why this is a good idea or this is the way it should be. But when it really comes down to it, is it something that they can be left to experience that's not going to hurt them, but they will learn, and maybe it will take even a couple times for them to do it, and then they'll decide on their own, I really don't want to do that anymore. I don't think that that's a good choice. So that is I tread lightly in that category, because in today's world there's so many things that you have to be cautious about. But yet, whenever it is something that they can learn from their own experience, by all means, I think that's a great way to go about it for a strong-willed child, because then they are owning it, they are learning how to handle it, and they also learn how to handle it if it doesn't go the way that they want it to, but then they also know that they made the decision. It's much different to have a strong-willed child realize that they made a decision and it wasn't the best decision, than to have it be like, oh, we made a decision for them, and hold that resentment against us. So if possible, let them make the decisions, and not let them make the decision, yeah, that would be great, right? Let them learn from experience in the decisions that they do make. So the 3 tips would be the why behind it. Always step back and take a look at the why and the heart. Offer them control whenever possible, and within reason, let them learn from experience. So those are just some things I wanted to share with you today, and pray that it encourages you. But just mostly know that you're not alone in this, and there is so much fruit. I mean, we're only halfway through our parenting a strong-willed child stage, and I have, like I said, already seen, God is so gracious, already seen that start to mold and shape into something that's different and beautiful. And I can't imagine when it's full-blown. So just hang in there, especially if you are parenting a strong-willed one that's little and you don't see that at all, or if you're parenting a teen that's strong-willed and you don't see that at all. I know time and again I've had wise moms share with me that it is worth it, and taking these steps and continuing to pursue them and their heart and the best way that we can reach them through God's wisdom, it will pay off. So keep on keeping on, moms, and I will be back with you later. Bye.